Welcome to this E4 Click Spotlight. So every month or two or three, we try to do a little spotlight here. We try to highlight one of the different features or functions of E4 Clicks here for you, take you up another notch, give you a little extra info, maybe some nuances that you may not have seen or known about before. This month, we're going to do custom and alternate line items. So we're going to see how to create custom and alternate line items and how to use them. We'll even check out how we can use filtering to show which are which, and how we want to print those out so we can see how those print out. All right? So, quick definition. Most of our line items probably originate from a pricing guide, RS Means, or an IDIQ, or anything. We can load up pretty much anything you want. But many times you'll find a line item that isn't in a pricing guide or that we need to tweak just a little bit. So maybe we need material cost needs to go up or down a little bit based on what you're doing and what specifically you're installing. All that kind of good stuff. All right? So you may do some research and do web searches or visit vendors or call subcontractors, all that kind of cool stuff. And then you need to put that information in. So we call that a custom line item. So you put it in, it exists in an estimate. Then, if you want to use that line item again and again and again on other projects, what we say is put that into your pricing guide. You own an alternate guide that you can put any of your team's pricing into. And instead of opening RS Means or the IDIQ book, you open up the alternate guide, and that has all of your team's information. So you could open up any other guide and add from it like any other guide. So if you do it again and again, pop it in the alternate guide, and you can find it really quick. You don't have to go back to the last project that you used it on, find it, copy it, paste it into your new job. You just open the alternate instead of the RS Means and put it in there. All right? So let's jump over to E4 Clicks here. I'm going to start from the Estimates tab of the Update Project window. All right? Just kind of show you this here. In this here, we've got Install South Sidewalk. I'm going to open this up. I'm just hitting Enter to drill down. If any of this doesn't make sense, I apologize. I'll have a couple of tools in here that I do that you may not catch, but I just want to kind of highlight some specific ones. So if you miss something, you can check out our other, like our user's manual, the training guide, our YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff to catch up, or give us a holler. All right? I'm going to open up this estimate and look at these line items. All right? Now, what if we wanted to create a brand new line item from scratch, right? Custom line item. There's two ways to do custom. One is from scratch, just build it up with without any starting point. And then the second one is actually to use one of our guides to start us off, all right? So if we used an RS Means guide, maybe we love all the hard work they did to figure out the labor and equipment and productivity and all that, but we just want to tweak the material based on an exact quote we have, we could do that. So let's look through both ways. We'll start here and do a custom line item from scratch, okay? If and right-click, right? This is E4 Click, so we got to right-click a little bit. Instead of opening up our guide this time, our default here, if we wanted to, or our list of guides, let's actually go to the fifth option on our list, Insert Custom Line Item. All right? If we like toolbar icons, we can come up over here and rest over this one. It says Insert Custom Line Item. All right? I'll use the right click again just to show you where it comes from. Insert Custom Line Item. If you like keys, you got it there. When we do this, we get the Uptime Details window. It looks very similar to what you've seen before, I'm sure. Let me just move this here real quick. But you can see that everything is blank, right? So we can see the highlighted fields. See these yellow fields here are required fields, right? So maybe I'm going to do some custom concrete spray. So I'm going to do O3 spray. And I'm going to do an O3 here in the name of it for a reason, which we'll see at the end of the thing here. And I'm just going to do some custom concrete curing spray, right? So we're basically putting in information about what we've got. We need a unit of measure here. I'm just going to cover the top, so I'm going to do square foot. And then I'm going to say my material cost is $1, my labor is 50 cents, and my equipment is 25 cents. Okay? So because we're absolutely nowhere, just some numbers that I made up, right? But you can put this information in here and see how it totals up, so we could use this line item. All right? Over here we have some other stuff to look at. I'll get into synchronized values and protected item here a little bit later, but I want to show you something else here on this one, and we'll highlight those later. Priced or non-priced. If we're in a Sabre or a Jock type contract, priced and non-priced means something, right? If it's from the unit price book or it's contractually accurate, it's priced. If it's not contractually pre-priced, then it's a non-priced line item, all right? So we'll say this is non-priced, but we could put those either way that we wanted to. And then we could put in a quantity. I know my quantity here is 1062. We could put in our takeoff formula and all the other stuff. For this case, I'm just going to bust out a 1062 and we'll be good, all right? When I click the OK button, this will be added to our line item here, our list of line items, and we can see it there. All right, so we can see the O3 spray, custom concrete curing spray, yada, yada, yada. We can see that it's N for non-price. We can see the quantity and the total. We can see all the details over there. Fair enough? So we made a custom line item. All right, totally from scratch. Now let's open up a pricing guide and create one of those from scratch. Okay? So I'm going to hit Insert to open up my default guide, and I'm just going to go random here, and I'm just going to grab something that has material, labor, and equipment. All right? And we won't be doing any fancy ornamental columns in my work here, but you never know. All right? This is just for plain purposes here. All right? So now what we can do is we can highlight this line item and say this is exactly what we need for our vertical linear feet. The labor and equipment look great, but maybe the material price is just off. It's not exactly what we need. We've got some fancy stuff, but we got an actual quote from our manufacturer, and we know this is actually $25 per vertical linear foot. All right? So when we right-click, instead of adding the currently highlighted item, straight up, RS means we actually want to create a custom line item based on highlighted item. When we click on this, we get the Update Line Item Details window again. This time, however, we are pre-populated with all of the information from the 2012 RS means. We can see that the guide is a custom line item based on that, and we can click into any of these fields, and these are fully editable, right? We could change the crew, we could change the output, we could change the material, labor, and equipment costs, all that kind of good stuff, all right? So let's play a little bit, and let's just say we know material cost should be $25. So we change that material cost right there. We could say that this one is non-priced as well. Now, if we leave item number exactly the same, later we try to reselect this line item through a different estimates if we're doing this next year or whatever, what we can do is instead of it getting overwritten by the reselect guide process when we go to 2013 guide, for example, what we can do is we can come over here and we can protect this line item. So that'll protect it from being updated. Okay? If we wanted to get super duper fancy, we come over here to synchronize values. What this does is it allows you to link these four fields, the output, labor hours, labor, and equipment, and synchronize those. So if we increase the output that we could do each day, and we could do 200, we're going to see these prices reduce. If we only do 100 of these per day, we're going to see these increase. So our costs are going to go up because it takes us longer to do it, right? I'll put back at 160 because I have no idea. This is way too smart for me, but if you know your stuff, you can get really, really fancy, all right? So I'm going to unsync those, and I'm going to be done. Does that make sense? So basically, we've started from a custom line item, and we've tweaked it there, all right? So I'm going to hit the OK button. I'll add that to our estimate. One thing here, if we wanted to, normally, if we right-click on a header line item, we can't add that, right? It's not an N line item. It doesn't have a little checkbox next to it. So we can't add it like we normally could. But if we're using custom, we could turn even these header items into a custom line item and add that information in here. We're going to have less information to work with to begin with, but maybe it's got a better description or something that we want it to. Does that make sense a little bit? All right, so I'm going to close this book down. Come back to our estimate, and we can see that I didn't put any vertical linear feet in there. So let's just pop in 40 just so we have a number in there, and we can see that we've got a number there now. All right? Now, what this custom concrete curing spray is the new standard here. RS Means just hasn't quite got it in there or whatever yet, or this is very, very specialized stuff for exactly what we're doing. And we want to be able to use this line item again and again and again, right? What's the difference between a custom and an alternate? A custom is basically created once and resides in that estimate. An alternate then exists in the alternate book and can be used again and again easily in each estimate, all right? So if we wanted to make this O3 spray that we just made up a couple seconds ago, if we turn that into an alternate line item, how would we do that? If you said click, you're rocking, all right? If we right-click, we've got some line item tools. The very first tool here is create alternate line item. Do you see that? I'm going to come back here. I'm going to show you the toolbar icon. I'll just hover over it there, create alternate line item, if you like those. And I'll click down here and I'll do my right-clicking thing again. Line item tools, create alternate line item. All right? When we do that, we're going to get to inserting new alternate line item. What this allows us to do is basically set up our pricing information, our information for that line item. Okay? So we can do all of the same stuff that we've seen. We can have a bearer and an overhead and profit pricing for material, labor, and equipment. A neat thing here, we've got the belongs to, right? So if we use the belongs to, and I'll show you the alternate guide in a minute, but we can set up different folders, totally customizable for our purposes, our team's purposes. So I'm going to click concrete, so that'll put it actually in the concrete folder, and I'll show you that in a second. Item, we got the description, we got all that good stuff, right? We can see a lot of the same information that we've seen on other line items. Here we could highlight it, which would make it bold in our list. And protected here actually means that only a systems administrator can edit this exact line item, okay? The nice thing is, a lot of times when we do an alternate line item, we've done some research. So we could put in the company name, the contact information, all that kind of good stuff. We could do an image here, which is just any kind of picture. It could be an image of it. It could be a cut sheet. But basically, we can attach some good information here and put on any notes that we wanted to. All right? So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to click the OK button, and this will add this new item to our alternate book. So I'll click OK, and it'll be added to our alternate guide. And I'll show you that in a second. All right, does that make sense? Now, I didn't change this one into an alternate guide. This one's still custom because I made it as a custom, but I've added it to the alternate. So if I ever now open the alternate guide and add from there, then it would be an alternate guide, an alternate line item. And I'll show you that too so you can see the kind of the differences. So let's just go in here, and that's 1062. So we'll add another alternate of that same spray just so we can see the differences with a different quantity. All right? Now, we can right-click, and we can come to our select guide to open to get our list of books, or we can use our pull down. I'm going to go ahead and use the pull down here as alternate. Clicking this little blue button over here will open up the browsing alternate window. This is a great window. I wish we had more time to get in there and really get into it. Maybe we'll do another spotlight on that. But on the left here we can see that we can organize it into folders and subfolders. We can have favorite alternates. We can have an index where we can do our index. We can do all kinds of cool stuff. We got locate and query and all that stuff. Let's go over to the concrete folder, because when we added the spray, we added it right there, right? So just like any other guide, if we right-click on this, our top option says highlight, add currently highlighted item to the estimate, right? One nice thing is because we're adding this, and maybe we want to add it as a custom, so we could even tweak the price of an alternate, depending on what the situation is. So pretty neat. Little tool tip there for you. But let's go ahead and add this one. And instead of 62, we're just going to do 500 for this one, kind of to differentiate it. But you can see now it's locked down like a normal guide. And then obviously there's some fields that we can update. Clicking OK will add that to our estimate. I'm going to close down the alternate guide now. And we see that we've got a whole list of stuff here. All right? Which leads me into showing you some of the other cool tools and tips that we got here for you. All right? Guide source. Guide source is kind of neat. We track the source, the guide source, guide, each of the line items came from. Okay? And this is useful for printing out and doing different reports and seeing what's priced, what's non-priced, what came from the unit price book, all that kind of good stuff. But it also allows us to very quickly find the line items that came from the different sources. So, down here we can see our guide source filtering buttons, or tabs here, right? So normally we're on the all. You may have never even seen these, but all is going to show all of our line items. items, of course. If we click over to RS means, we're going to see all the ones that came directly out of RS means without being touched at all. Okay? And as we scroll through these, we could look at the RS means cost data, and we could see that we're directly out of the 2012. All right? Now, I'm going to go to the alternates tab. So this is going to show us all of the line items that came from that alternate book. So we had one in here before we started, some concrete coloring there. And then we can see the 500 square foot unit for the custom concrete curing spray. Because we went into the alternate and brought it out of there, that's where that 03 spray came from. If we click on custom, we'll see the original one that we added with a quantity of 1062, and we could see the one we brought from RS means, the ornamental mill there, right? And we can see the P means it's protected and all that kind of good stuff, all right? Oh, and then we could look at trades too. If we saw we had some cement finishers there, we could look at trades. So this is a nice way to filter through where your line items have come from. Okay, now this is not a beautiful estimate or anything, but I do want to show you some reporting options. Okay, so we've got some alternates, we've got some customs, we've got some priced, we've got some non-priced, we've got some trades, we've got some straight-up RS means line items. Okay, now depending on how we want to present this material, we have report options. Okay, what do we print? Estimates, right? We do estimate reports. So I'm going to click OK, close this estimate down. I'm going to test this estimate. Then we go to reports and print estimates. Everybody with me, right? So we tag the estimates we want to print and come down to reports and print estimates. I'll show you two different ones here. I want to show you the preliminary estimate, which is a great estimate for a unit price book type contract. So your jocks, your sabers, your IDIQs, that kind of deal. What this lets you do is highlight those line items that have been altered at all, or changed at all, or created that were not from your unit price book. So over here, we'll go to Export to Adobe, and we'll click OK. And this will create a nice little PDF for us. This will give us a division summary, totaling components, material, labor, equipment. We got the price, non-price ratio, so we can see that half of our job almost is non-priced now. Obviously, it's not a real job and not great. We can see that $900 is in concrete here, right? This means it came directly out of RS means. You don't have to, you can totally trust that that came from RS means because we're running the preliminary estimate here. None of that has been altered at all. Then we can see the earthwork, and then we get into the alternates here, and there's $4,800 worth of alternates. That means they're somewhere outside of all of the RS means divisions, the trades, and the assemblies. Okay, we can see our trades one there of 338. Okay, that makes a little bit. Then we can see our total components and other stuff. If we go down to the next page now, we're going to see our concrete line items, our 03 line items. Then we're going to see our exterior improvements, right, our 32s. And then here's all the alternates. So these may have come from the alternate book. They may have come from the custom book. Anything that is from any way altered from the unit price book is right here. All right, and we can see trades down here because that's an actual book, trades, and we could see assembly line items, right? So the RS means assemblies. These are the RS means trades right here. You can see that. So we've got the alternate and the custom right there. We can see that they're not priced versus the priced ones right there. You could have a custom line item that is priced. It all depends on the contract, but here's a most common example. Okay, does that make sense? So let's run this one more time. Let's close this down. And instead of running a preliminary estimate, let's go to reports and print estimates, let's do an estimate list. So now we don't care if it's priced or non-priced. The job that we're doing doesn't have a unit price book, no pre-priced line items at all. We just need to estimate. So we'll go to Adobe again. Click OK to run this, and then we can open the file. Make it a little bit bigger. Now we've got an estimate list here, and we can see that the concrete number is significantly higher than the $900, right? What an estimate list does is it doesn't care if it's priced or non-priced or where the source of that line item came from. It only cares what the number is, right? So it started with 03, and so it popped it into concrete. Here, we didn't have any metals before because all of that was an alternate. Here, it's going to drop all the 05s right into Division 05. All right? And And then instead of having alternates, trades, and assemblies here, we just have other. So if it doesn't begin with the 01 through 48, it's going to throw it into other, and we'll see that in a second. It'll be the trades. Here we don't have price, non-price, again, because we don't care about that for this kind of contract. And then we jump in and we can see our division breakdown. Here we can see our O3 sprays, we can see our other alternate custom ones, and we can see the RS mean. So regardless of the book that it came from, it's going to be shown in the O3 concrete total. There's the O5 totals, even though that was custom. And then we can see the 32s. And then the other, because CEFI didn't start with 01 through 48, it threw it in the other. And we can see that came out for the trade. So depending on the contract or the need that you have, you may want to present your material in different ways. All right? Now, we're going to get the exact same total because we still have the same totaling components. If we were doing an estimate list, you may not care about a price total versus a non-price total and that kind of stuff. You probably have different totaling components. But I think you get the idea of what we're kind of presenting here. Okay? So, hope that helps you out. If you got any questions, please let us know. If you need more information, whatever, we've got our user's manual, we've got our training guide, we've got our training, our different actual training classes. So you can go to www.4clicks.com and then go to the training page, and you can see and sign up for all that kind of stuff. We've got awesome help, and of course we've got tech support. So I'll bring that back up here. I guess we don't have it on there. But yeah, visit our website, and we can hook you up with whatever information you need. So hopefully that answers, or that highlights a little thing for you there, and hopefully it helps you out. All right, thanks, and have a great day.